obviously this 5K I saw online it's already sold out for in person, but it has an opportunity to be virtual. What's it like to have so many people trying to reach out from so many different states to just take part in this?
It's really amazing. We had no idea it would grow to this magnitude. When one of our friends had first come up with the idea, she came over to our house and presented it to Guy and I, and we were like, "Oh, that sounds nice." And we thought, it might be a nice way to see some of the people, some of the friends that we have from either hockey or, that we've just met along the way to kind of get together, do this little 5K fun run and just have a fun day and just be able to, we thought like by that time it would be, 8 or 9 months afterwards and we might be, able to talk to people a little bit more than we would because there were so many people at the viewing and the funeral. We didn't even remember who was there. So we thought this would be nice. We also told our friend Debbie, who came up with this idea that we wouldn't. I didn't think we could do anything for it. Like we were just like, it was still a struggle to even get out of bed in the morning. I said, I don't know what we can do. And they said, it's your hockey friends. We just want to do this for John and Maddie and for you. So and your family, we just want to do something, you don't have to do anything. We'll run everything. And we thought, Guy and I thought, oh, it'd be nice to see, like, maybe there'll be like maybe 100 people there, or, maybe even like 150 or so. And we would be able to, like just like I said, just kind of say hi and just thank them for everything. There were so many people that reached out with either food or flowers or plants, or trees, mass cards. The notes were just, they came with the sympathy cards were just amazing. And we thought, it would just be nice to see everyone. We had no idea that it would get this bigger and big. And when my friend had said, she goes, "Oh, I think it's going to be big. I think we'll sell out." And we were like, "Well, what's sell out?" And they were like, "Well, we were going to have like 400 for the competitive and 600 for the non-competitive." And Guy and I were like, "Yeah, I don't think it's going to get that big." Like we had no idea. And then they decided to add the virtual because there were so many people from Calgary and Columbus that were reaching out as well that we thought, you know, well, they thought, not we, they thought, let's have a virtual. And then from the virtual, that just kind of, took off.
Well, Jane, that kind of leads me to my next the support and love from Columbus over these past months. What has that been like for the family to see that this city, how much they love Johnny and to this day want to continue his memory?
Um, it was just amazing. It really helped our family go through this because it was such a hard thing that you're going through. But whenever we went to Columbus, it always made us feel like, we were a part of everything. John, there was so much presence of John there. The teammates who had played with John, you know, we saw how they were grieving like our family was grieving. I met the coach for the first time and he was just amazing. And I remember John was so excited when he found out the new coach was coming, and he was just so excited to play for him. He was so excited that Sean was coming back, and that Sean and John have such a amazing chemistry that we were so fortunate to be a part of for, I guess I'm not even sure how many years. I think 8 years out in Calgary. So we were all excited about that. And then, we of course we had Eric Gabranson, who we had known from Calgary and his family. But we met so many other new people. When I went on the mom's trip a couple years ago, it was just like a close knit group. And through all this, whenever we would go to Calgary, excuse me, whenever we would go to Columbus, they would invite Guy out on the ice. And that meant so much to him. Sometimes I remember my two daughters saying, I feel like that's the only time we see dad smile is when he's on the ice. And the coaches welcomed him. They have him come in the locker room. It was just like Columbus had just given our family like this one big warm hug. And I think that helped so much with everything we were going through to know that we had so many people that were there for all of us and who loved John and even Maddie, not that Maddie didn't play out there, but it wasn't just John. They just took in John and Maddie together and it was really nice.
For the actual team, I mean, they kept Johnny's jersey in the locker all season long. What was that like to see that in a season that really so many in Columbus are so proud of in the way that they honored Johnny? Would have loved to make the playoff, but still they kept fighting till the very, very end.
Yes, we were so close to the playoffs. And it was, I mean, for our family, it was so nice to hear like that they were playing for John. It was the coach had said it at the mom's trip. He gave this like amazing speech in the locker room when all the moms went into there. And it was just amazing to see how much they kept talking about John all through everything. And, you know, as much as I think it's great that they were doing this for John, you can't take away from anything that team, they were amazing. I mean, they were just such a close-knit team. They were just so skilled. The coaching there this year was just so much fun to watch. It was just I don't know. I just keep thinking what this means to our family and how much them playing for John and then keep saying, we're doing this for John. We're doing it for the Gaudreaus. We're keeping them, and again, it goes back to that. Like it was just like a warm hug that we felt the presence all the time.
So I guess I'll ask you this, and I know this is kind of a tough question to answer, but how are you doing? How is the family doing? I saw Meredith had her baby. How's
She did.
everything?
Grief is a funny thing. We had lost my mom a year before the boys, and she had breast cancer. So we were kind of preparing ourselves for that. There's nothing that can prepare you for what we went through, especially, I feel like losing a child, and in our case, two children, that grief is, you know, just there's just like no words for it. It was just so hard for us. And it continues to be hard. It was nice to go to so many of the tributes. It was nice to see so many of the teams because a lot of people would come to us and say, "Oh, you're going away again." That I feel, that maybe you should just take a break. I feel sorry for you that you have to do this. And what we try to say, it was when we went to the tributes, it was kind of our way of giving back to all the people that reached out to us and were there for us. And then even going back to the tributes, there were so many people that we would get to talk to and hear stories about that, both John and Maddie had done different things that we might not have heard from our boys because they wouldn't come home and say, "Oh, guess what I did today? I went to, youth organization. I went to, something like this." So it was so nice to hear like throughout both of their careers, everything the boys had done for so many others. So for that, it makes us, feel better, of course, and it helps us. But grief, like I said, is just so crazy. Like some days you'll be having an okay day, and there could be just something that is so minor that just will flip a switch, and we're just not okay. But I think that's what grief is, and especially something like this when you lose a child. I feel like um, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Your children are supposed to bury their parents, not the other way around. So I feel like that was so difficult, but being with the people in all the various cities, Columbus, we've made so many friends with different people. We would go there, and when we would even go somewhere to eat, it was somewhere that maybe we had been with John and Meredith, and they would still remember us. And when I say us, I think they really remember Guy. I feel like Guy has that look where he looks like a hockey coach. He acts like a hockey coach, and people, he has the mustache and everything. So everyone, goes like, I could probably walk down Columbus by myself and not get noticed. But when I'm with Guy, and he's so much a part of the hockey world, all over. But Columbus, it's just really nice. Everyone's been so amazing and so thoughtful, so just there for us at all times. And even with the 5K, we have people that are even flying in from Columbus for the 5K. Eric Branson, his whole entire family's coming. I think Zach Aston Reese, his family's coming. It's just like so amazing how much these people want to be there for all of us and for John and Maddie.
Well, that perfectly steers me to the next part of my the question here is the 5K is going to raise money for a disability playground, and if you wouldn't mind just kind of talking about how important that is to your family, and how special kind of being able to help build that will be.
Um, where we're building the playground is at the school that I work at. It's Archbishop Damiano School, and it's a long history with our family. Even before any of our children were born, when I have a brother with special needs, and when he was young, we were looking for a school for him. My mom was looking for a school. I was only 9. I think he was 10 and a half. So they were looking for a school, and he had various disabilities. So it was very hard to find like a perfect match for him. So Archbishop Damiano said, we'll take him on with a 6-week trial and just see, because we're not used to it, this type of disability. We'll try it for 6 weeks. And after 6 weeks, they ended up keeping saying that my brother Ricky could stay. The only stipulation was because his disabilities were so varied that they wanted my mom to come in. So my mom and my brother came here for 6 weeks. And then after the end of 6 weeks, they said, we would love to keep, Ricky. And they said to my mom, when they came here, they said, oh, you could just come here and read a book and sit in the office. And that was just not my mom's. Like, she said, well, what can I do? Can I volunteer? How can I help? So she volunteered for those 6 weeks. And after the end of 6 weeks, when they offered Rick a permanent uh, stay at Archbishop Damiano School, they also asked my mom if she would come and work. So then my mom started working at the school, and she was here 44 years. And then I started working while I was in college, and then finished college and stayed working here. And then my oldest daughter, she's in the speech department here. My youngest daughter, Katie, she worked here while she was going to college, and she worked all the summers and school breaks. And then when the boys went to Gloucester Catholic High School, they played sports all pretty much. Well, they played the fall, and then for soccer, and then they played the winter for ice hockey. And my agreement with them was that they had to, for the spring, focus more on studies. We were getting ready to be to the end where you had finals. So I said, my husband really wasn't on this page with me. He was with the boys, but I said, I would like for you to focus, and just kind of like have a little bit more time for studies. So they Gloucester Catholic is 30 miles away from our house, which is so is my work. So I would pick them up. I would take my lunch at 2:30 when they got out, and I would pick the boys up, and they would come to school here, and they would volunteer. So when I say it's a family, school, it's just like everyone was part of Archbishop Damiano School at one time. Even my husband helped volunteer. But the boys, I'd pick them up from Gloucester Catholic. They'd come here, they'd volunteer a couple hours, and then at the end of the day, I would just take them home, or probably to where other sport they had to, because I feel like they always were playing some type of sport. And it was just Archbishop Damiano School was just so much of a part of our family, and it was so important to my mom that John, before he passed away, he was already donating to Archbishop Damiano School. So when my mom had passed away, we said in lieu of flowers for donations to come to the playground. That was back in 2023. And then when the boys passed away, we were kind of thinking, the same thing. Instead of like a lot of flowers at our house, we wanted to do something for the students here. And John and Maddie both love children. Like they were, when my oldest daughter, Kristen, had the babies, it was they were they flew home whenever they could just to see the babies, or whenever John would play at come in at New York, or he would tell my daughter, you have to bring Cameron and Logan. And she would say, well, it's a 2 hour ride up to New York. But they were just so, both boys just love children so much. So when it came to, what to do, and my friend had this great idea about the 5K, and she said, let's, help build a playground for the students at your school. I think the boys would just love that. I think that they'll be there with us. They'll be listening to the children, like laughing and playing and have fun on the playground. And my husband and I thought about it, and we thought, that's a big task to take on, especially when no one in our family could really help at that time. And it was just like so generous of the hockey community. And that says again, the hockey community to come together. So that was really nice.